Welcome to episode 39, Baseball 4 podcast. Gus Rico here with looks a little weird today. Excuse my background. I'm over here in Texas. You got Lira over there back home. We got a great one today. Just real quick here. Sorry, I lost my voice yesterday. I'm trying to get it back. But with that being said, welcome to episode 39. Shout out to the wife and kids back home. My 16-year-old son, good luck today against Santa Margarita. He's traveling out there. Good luck out there. I know he's starting catches to go do your thing. Players and coaches out there, shout out to you guys, our Braves parents back home. Shout out to you guys, our ones that made it safe and sound to Texas. Thank goodness. Good to see you guys here. We're actually hitting right now at DBAT. Our tournament directors, you guys do a heck of a job out there as well. Or the grounds crew, you guys drag the fields. You guys do all that good stuff to keep the ground ball safe. All right. So shout out to Texas Perfect Game. You guys are going to put on a great show for us, put on a great tournament. We're excited to be out here and do our thing. Great to see some familiar faces out here, like San Diego Show, the ZTs and all that. Some Braves updates real quick. Our running club. The running club has been pretty successful here. There's been two runs so far, about 5 miles, 3 miles. Our next one's coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to do 3.5 miles. So if you guys want to get out there and run with us, catch some sun, come join us, please. All right, this weekend's tournaments out back home. I know we got some Sunday league starting on Sunday with Camarillo, with Jeremy, ESSA. I know we got some tournaments as well. And out here in Houston, Texas, with our 13U BBA team. Our 9U Navy tournament was a success. We hosted a tournament. It was great, well ran. Thank you to all the teams that came out and participated in it. High school baseball has started. If you guys are out there and want to watch some high school baseball anywhere around the Southern California, please catch a game. Some good baseball going on right now. Along with as well, I know there's college baseball here in Texas at the Minute Maid Stadium. We'll catch a game today. So with that being said, my co-host, Andy Lira, looks a little weird today.
Yeah, man. No, yeah. Welcome back to episode 39, man. We're hitting on that 40 mark pretty soon, man. And yeah, you're in Texas. Glad you made it there safe, and everyone else made it safe and get going. And you guys are hitting over there, man. That tournament right there, man. It's gonna be an exhausting one this weekend, but I'm sure you're looking forward to it. Everyone out there, get after, play some great baseball. We, definitely happy to have you guys out there. But yeah, man, I think this was gonna be a great episode. Just back to back, banger after banger, man. We're thankful for all the guests that's coming on. And just giving us great insight of baseball, great insight of competitive baseball, how tournaments are. And now we're gonna get a guy here that's a head coach. Not only is he a head coach, but he's a guy that gives these kids an opportunity to wear something across their chest that they should be very prideful for, because this is once in a lifetime opportunity. You don't know what's gonna happen next, but he's there to give them opportunities. Just with USA Baseball, man. USA Baseballs wants to give these kids of every age an opportunity to go out there and, especially in North Carolina, carry, go showcase your talents as a team, as a program, and then get these kids an opportunity to compete for a spot to go represent Team USA, man. And I'm looking forward to this one right here. It's going to be a great one. Give us insights on what they look for, what he looks for, and how the whole thing process goes, man. Nobody but here, another legend on the podcast, Bryan Madsen. I hope I got it right. I hope I didn't mess that one up.
You got it right, except the legend part.
Stop it.
Everything except the legend part. So.
What's going on?
How you guys
Skip?
doing? All right?
We're doing all right, man.
Good.
Just I'm glad I have a voice here, and the guys back home are holding it down, and just we have you on.
Yeah. Technology, right? 3 different parts of the country.
Go figure. It's funny because when we set it up, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then the guys back home are like, you're going to be in Texas. And I said, I'm going to be where? Like, you're in Texas. I was like, shoot. So it didn't hit me that it was 2 hours ahead out here. But, man, glad to, have you on. And I was supposed to have Eric a couple weeks ago, but we miscommunicated. And, I got to have him on.
Yeah, he's great. You got to have Q on. Q's fucking million.
Absolutely.
So, Lira, how you doing? All right?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Good.
Out here getting going, and he's taking care of stuff out here. We're taking care of stuff out here. We still got teams playing this weekend, so excited to get going, man. But I ain't gonna lie, it's been a while since we've been separated, so it feels weird.
You look real lonely there.
Yeah, I
You should have
know.
put my guitar. You should have put some stuff around you, man. Come on.
No, I want to show you the empty presence of what you felt when you're not here. I mean,
You need to get like a cutout of Gus over there.
honestly, no, we'll do it. I'm saying cut of our guests. Well, we're gonna do it for each guest.
Right?
Do it like those radio shows or the shows that used to have all the guests, the cutouts behind them. I don't know. One of those ESPN argument shows had all that.
There you go.
There you go.
Just in case we're traveling. But Coach, man, appreciate you, and tell us a little bit about your background. We'll get into all the USA stuff, and you're a world champ, high school coach. I want to touch on all that stuff, and just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So originally from California, born and raised actually in Arroyo Grande, California. It's just below San Luis Obispo. And played baseball in college, played for Larry Lee, who's at Cal Poly San Luis now. Probably learned as much from coaching, playing for him, as I did, from other people, just seeing how he did things. Had a little interest from some pro teams, never really shook out. Actually joined the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years and then got out. Bounced around a little bit, coached.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate it. Honor to serve. And then just started coaching baseball and kind of never really, if you'd asked me, when I started coaching, if I'd be wearing the USA and Taiwan having a gold medal placed around my neck, I thought you're crazy. But I never really looked past where I was, and I was just kept grinding away, and it's worked out pretty good. So,
I want to touch a little bit on the Marine stuff, and I know how important our country means to us.
Sure.
And now you get to wear it across your chest. So what made you join? Join?
Well, I was at a point, I think, after I stopped playing baseball where I needed some direction. I was kind of bouncing around. I was doing fine, but I was heavy. I was like 268. I should have joined your run club. And then, and I needed to be a part. I always liked being a part of a team, right? I enjoyed the team aspect. I never even wanted to be the guy. I just like I always enjoyed the guys, like, I'm going way back, like Kurt Rambis, I love those guys that just did the dirty work and did the team stuff. And I always, the Marines were kind of always in the back of my mind. I thought they were the hardest, outside of some of the special forces. I wanted to challenge myself. So I went to the recruiter's office. He told me I was, too fat to be a Marine at the time. So I lost 44 pounds before I could go to boot camp. And then went to the Marines, and it was, for my life, it was the best thing I ever did. Everything I learned in the Marine Corps still applies to this day. So
my next question, do you apply your Marine Corps, the stuff that you took from there to the baseball field? I'm sure you do.
100%. Yeah. There's, that right now there's a big, and rightfully so, there's a big interest in leadership and ownership and things like that. Those are things that I learned in the Marine Corps early and often. Take responsibility for the things you do wrong and the things you do right. Take care of others first. Mission accomplishments, number one. Troop welfare is number two. That kind of flips in baseball. You got to take care of your team, but kind of all. Everybody rowing the same way, rowing the boat the same way, and having the goal in mind, which is, to win, and not only on the field, but in life. And sometimes you need a team, and sometimes people have to sacrifice for the good of the team. So,
yeah, I think that's, honestly, that's great there. Cause we try to, as coaches, always establish a structure, and let them know that, hey, we're building young men to realize it's a good to build a routine, understand when to become a team player, when to do things for yourself or on your own, And I think
Right.
that's the best thing, because you go to the Marine Corps and you realize, and you see how much structure that they develop at waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and then you got to go do
Yeah.
this and go do that. And if you're late to your post or whatever it is, you're gonna get in
Right.
trouble for that. Like, I think that's where you go, and as a coach, you realize like we need to build a structure not only for the players but as a team. And I think we always talk
Right.
about all the time the same thing is, what Sam and Gus is the Braves way. So we have a structure, we have a way we go about it, and
Right.
there's different ways that you can preach it and go. But I think that's where said and done, when you're a coach and you go through those things. And I think when we wanted a structure, we had a routine, and to get that going. Now you twist it, you turn it, but I think when you use life as a guy that goes through it all, then you become a head coach. You kind of give these kids and that extra, what would you say, like that extra, like easier, I guess, the easier route. That
Yeah.
you went through it or whatever, it might have been a different route. No one really telling you what to do or how to do it. Now you're giving these kids now just an opportunity on the baseball field, but at a high level of what to look for when you go to college, when you go to the pros. And I think that's great, man. To be honest.
I think there's something to be said for, not everybody gets to be the hero every day. It takes a team of people behind the scenes to make the hero a hero. And we're really big on you may be the name of the paper, but understand how you got there. Understand all the people that sacrifice for you to get there, and a lot of those. Obviously, there's a difference in the goal of the Marine Corps combat wise and baseball, right? But the team and the leadership and holding each other accountable, because we all know those teams. If the coach has to continually hold everybody accountable, it's going to get old. But if your teammates hold you accountable, then you can start building a culture, um, and of where, yeah, you don't want to let the coach down, but you don't want to let those other, 16, 17 other guys on your team down either. So, which is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holding each other accountable at the high school level or at any level, but especially at the high school level with the kids, I think they understand it a little more than, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, or a 10-year-old, whatever it is. But, some kids are built a little different than others. But, we have some at the high school level right now where it's like, we depend on guys. A lot of guys like, hey, we're going to run a bunt defense, and we look at that guy. It's like, like we expect you guys to understand it. And then we have that freshman shortstop or that, that's looking at us like, wait a minute, what's going on? It's moving too fast for me. But yeah, no, that's great, man. That's awesome. And I'm glad we're talking about all that good stuff, that applies to baseball,
Yeah,
life,
100%. Applies to life,
basically.
life,
It is.
family,
It is.
being a father, a husband, all of it. Like,
It does.
uh,
It does.
yeah,
It did save a lot of us, kept us out of trouble. That's for sure.
yeah,
Baseball, you know.
100%.
Let's get into it. USA
Yeah,
baseball. Let's
yes,
do
sir.
it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. How'd you end up there? I mean,
So how did I
dive
end
in.
up USA baseball? So this world we live in is this like crazy cyclical, weird timing. So when I was coaching in California, I was coaching at Roy Green High School with Brad Latchman. Um, he's actually Marcel Latchman of the Angels and Renee Latchman. Marcel's his father. So really good baseball lineage there. Um, we were we were coaching at Arroyo Grande. When I met my wife, her cousin, and this is the ironic part, is Nick James, who I coach with now at Episcopal in Jacksonville. So I met Nick. Nick was coaching in South Florida at the time. Um, really good program down there, crushing it. And he was working with USA Baseball at the time. He was when they were out at RBI Academy in the Open in Santa Clarita. He was doing all that. Super great pitching guy, great baseball guy. Um, they needed a guy for like a half day, and Nick threw my name out. I was within driving distance. I got down there and worked like a half day. Um, we were flying somewhere, so I had my whole family like in the hotel room. I was out in the field. Um, we just had my son. Well, maybe yeah, he was a little older, one or so. But then they called me the next year, and it was just like when USA called, I never said no. Um, I did whatever needed to be done. And there's a lot of people that do that. I think I just got fortunate to kind of have some opportunities. Not a big believer in luck. I don't believe in luck, and I don't believe in, um, this sounds bad, but I like to think of myself as not very smart and unlucky, right? So I'm not very smart, so I got to work really hard to remember stuff and write everything down. And I'm not lucky, so I got to grind, and just kind of become undeniable, right? So yeah, I just kept working. And then when the opportunities came, I mean, but I would do anything. I'd set up tees. I would have done. I'd set up tees at USA Baseball for the rest of my life, for free. So I just kept kind of going up the ladder. But I never. It's not that you never look. I think when I was starting with USA, I'd see like the head coaches and think like, what a great spot. I don't think I'd ever be there, but now that I'm there, it's kind of cool. Like it sinks in after a while, but at first it's kind of unbelievable.
You would have still set up a hack attack. You would still pick up baseballs to this day.
100%. Still do it. I'm still setting up stuff on the field.
And I think that I hear that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing too. It's like when you go and you realize like no one's bigger than the game. Right? So even these little things that we do and we take pride in it, it's what got us those opportunities to go. And I mean, believe it or not, it's like, hey man, you're setting up everything on the field. You're still a coach. You're still doing these things.
Yeah.
People see that, right? And I think that's where we got to realize like it doesn't matter what level you're at. You could be at the highest level. All go ahead and take pride in it, man. It's okay to pick up a baseball while you're walking out the field just to make sure it doesn't get left behind or those things. And I think in order for you to I'm always the type of guy that, and everybody I think should do that, is you should do what you preach, right? So if you expect someone to do
lead by example too.
Lead by, like if you expect your kid or your player to do something, you should be able to do it yourself. And I think that's where it's like, because a lot of times it's like we tell somebody to do something, but we won't do it if it came down to it. So I think that's huge, man. And when kids see coaches doing it and coaches going in there and doing that, and granted, you don't want to do it all the time, but at least you show them, hey, I'm not bigger than the game. You're not. I can do it. You can do it, and let's do it.
Yeah, and if I'm there 20 minutes early, like, why can't I roll out the L screen? Like, what else am I really doing? If I have nothing else going, I can sit in the dugout, look at my phone, or I can go get ahead of stuff, and then that's going to give us more practice time. And I do think there's a element of it when a kid looks at you doing those duties that aren't necessarily a coach's job. I think there's a little bit of respect level. And when you tell them, hey, we need to get this, get set up for BP, they've seen you do it. So it's like, well, kind of takes away the excuse of why didn't anybody else do it? But I don't mind doing that stuff. And I think, everywhere at USA, Gus, you've seen it out there. We set up for the workouts and stuff. There's coaches out there doing all kinds of that stuff. There's no, I don't do that stuff. I mean, that's a good way to never be called back. So.
No, for sure. I mean, let's touch on that. I want to touch on that tournament, the Cary tournament. It's probably one of the most competitive tournaments I've gone to, going back from 5-6 years ago with who was the 12U national for Cole what was
before Cole. That was what's his name? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. Totally drawing a blank. I'll think of his name. Keep going. I'll think of his name.
Going back to that, it's got to be one of the hardest tournaments. I mean, the USA bat makes a big difference. Obviously, the 300-foot fences, and it's definitely. You guys do an amazing job of even identifying kids just there, right there. And I'm sure it's hard. I'm sure you guys, talk on top in the war room, and you guys are going at it probably like this kid, that kid. I mean, we had a couple of our alumni from the Braves Baseball Academy, Mateo, Jordan, even, Juan Pierre's kid this past year. Yeah. So, I mean, that tournament itself, it's.
Yeah. And you guys have had some guys that have gotten pretty far and didn't necessarily make the team, but you guys always show up. You guys run a quality program out there. I like watching your guys play. And you guys, what was 2 years ago with Gerlach? You guys beat us up pretty good. when we played that team of the guys
West
before.
Hills.
We needed that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
West
needed
Hills.
that.
Yeah.
You
Jordan came
guys,
out there and made us look
yeah.
like littler boys than we were. So yeah.
Hey, you
Um,
guys ended up winning a world title, so you guys are good.
yeah, but you know what? We kind of needed that at the time. I remember thinking that, like, I don't want to. Even last year, talking about going to Panama, not. I don't want to play someone who we can beat, right? I want these guys to know they're beatable. And I think that when you guys kicked us around pretty good, it kind of showed them, hey, you made it this far, you made the team, you were in the USA, but you just got manhandled by some people that have been there before, and it's good for them. So,
For them. But yeah,
yeah.
no, that tournament is it's really tough, and like I said, to just identify a kid, and it's things, and parents get heartbroken, and we all get, all of us do. It's like shit, we want to stay back, but
Yeah.
it's tough. I mean, I know if it was up to you guys would keep all of them, but we all know we can't do that, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and you want them to get something out of it, but unfortunately, you got to take the 18 right puzzle pieces, and there's plenty of kids that walk out of there that are better. You can say it like there's some more physically talented kids that get sent away, that don't make the team, other than just because it's a puzzle, right? It's the right puzzle, the right kid. Um, you can't, as much as you'd love to, you can't take 18 shortstops. You can't take 18 first basemen. Now they've taken away the DH, so that kind of takes that away. So
So there's no DH. So pitchers got to pitch for hit for themselves now.
well, that's what they told us, and then we got to Panama, and they decided there's a DH. So welcome to Panama.
Oh man, so that's got to be
Yeah.
another. Yeah, that's definitely another thing to look for. So now you got to have pitchers that are able to hit as well. That.
Yeah, so last year going into that team, they had changed some of the rules. So they went from the trampoline bats to to essentially the USA bats. It had to be a 1.0 bounce factor. So we knew that we had to build a team that could play baseball, right? Which is why we use those USA bats in training, and because we want to see who's got barrel control. If you can hit with that bat, you can hit with another bat. Like, so as much as people don't like it sometimes, and the big numbers aren't put up, like to watch those kids swing the USA bats and see what they can do with a less potent weapon, essentially bat, it's kind of good to see that hit tool. So.
switching third base, to with RJ Farrell and the rest of the staff to becoming, the 12U skip. So how does that feel? I mean, what was that feeling like representing our country?
It's crazy. Like I get emotional thinking about it. I get emotional thinking about like coming from the Marine Corps, wearing U.S. Marines on my chest there, and then standing there winning a gold medal with your jersey on, and there's no way of really explaining it. Like you've heard all the words, but it's just to stand there. It's a moment that you kind of wish everyone could feel, because they'd do anything to get it. You just it's to by far, we're not a perfect country by any means, but I still think we're the best hope in the world. But like to stand there and have your national anthem played in front of every other country, and be standing up higher than everybody else is I think it's a feeling not only for us but for those kids that kind of shows what they can do, what it can feel like, what they could be, and not only that, but also the kids that aren't there, that just you make that final 36 or you make that tournament, you're a pretty good player, and sometimes things don't shake out the way that you want them to, but hopefully it gives them a confidence that they can shoot for the stars, and try and replicate that feeling. Um, it's kind of cheesy, but not only on the field, but in life too, like that same feeling you got, you get with your kids, or, like you said, good luck to your son that's back home. Like that feeling of success, or I don't even know if success or if it's just satisfaction, a job well done. Like you did your job to the utmost of your ability. And doing that while wearing USA across your chest it's unexplainable. I mean, amazes me every time. Yeah,
I can imagine.
yeah.
Lyra, go ahead, man. I feel like you want to ask a question,
Hey,
Lyra.
were
Go
you
ahead.
talking about Will Schwartz? Yes, Will Schwartz. Yeah,
There we
Will.
go.
That
Will's a
was my
good dude.
guy. That was my
Yeah,
guy, man.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make him watch this and let him know we forgot his name. I'm gonna call him and tell him.
Will,
I love
man.
Will. Will's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we
um
get that invite, it's like, when you get that invite,
Yeah,
it's a whole process of,
yeah,
of submitting stuff. But yeah, no, it's
yeah.
great.
And
Lyra,
those
go
guys
ahead.
grind, Will grinded and before him and Cole does too. Like those, we get talking
Yeah.
about those tournaments super early in the year. I think people wonder, well, what do they do the rest of the year? It's like I talk to Cole a lot and he's always grinding on teams and trying to do this and that, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. No, I think that's the best thing, and we love preaching it too, is the grind, especially with those USA bats. Like it's a grind, dude. You got to go out there and go hit. You got to figure out how you can get on base. Like that's the you got to really use all your tools of baseball in there, as well
Right.
as coaches, to figure out how we can put those kids in the best position possible for you guys to look at them and be like, yo, like, all right, this guy can be one. So is there like a specific thing that has to stand out for you guys, or like how is it that you guys want to go and be like, hey, you know what? You guys look for one thing, whether it
Yeah.
be their character, the way they carry themselves, or how is it that you guys look for that one thing where it's like that's huge.
So I can tell you're talking about those late night like war rooms and there's some I think we've talked about it. Like, I've seen you guys on the field and walk in and be like, you'd say like long one last night. Like, yeah, like not in a good way either.
Yeah.
Weighing
Right.
out,
Right.
like just sitting in a boardroom and you got a whiteboard up there and you're trying to figure out the difference between, four players for two spots, And so to me, there's two ways we look at that. The first answer would be, what do we look for in a player? Now with the new rules, it's when Cole and I talked about building that team last year, USA bats, no DHs. Um, we kind of needed to essentially get the 18 best baseball players we could find. Right? We couldn't just take POs that couldn't hit. So we needed a bunch of essentially Swiss Army knives that could do a lot of things. We had very few guys on that roster that couldn't pitch. I think we took. I'll be honest. I don't think we took anybody that couldn't hit. Um, and in the final 36, we did. Um, but when we took that 18, I don't think any of them couldn't hit for themselves if they had to, and we were comfortable with that. Um, So there's that. There's the baseball part of it. There's the IQ, and then there's the flip side. Where obviously, all those guys are good. They're all good. They're all great, And so we look at those character pieces. Like the character piece is huge for us. In a few months, we're going to take 18, 12-year-olds to Taiwan and go in a different country in a hotel without their parents, and we need to expect them to act not like a normal 12-year-old, right? The word we use is uncommon. We need you to be uncommon. So and I don't look when I was 12 years old, I would have messed around the hotel too, right? I wouldn't have worked out very well. But like you take a kid that can handle, and they're still 12 years old, but they need that uncommon gene where they can go to another country and play in front of 9,000 people, and literally only 50 of them want you to win. The parent, like the players, the parents, you're you're seeing things like I was saying the other day. They have Ovaltine dancers on the field and the Ovaltine mascot. And it's like I didn't even know Ovaltine was still around. Like, and then you got DJs on top of the dugout screaming when you're pitchers. There's none of this. Hey, don't make noise when he's in his delivery. Like that's out. That you better know how to do that. Like, and then the character piece. Like, how do they treat their parents? How do their parents treat them? How how do they conduct themselves? I want to see them make outs. I want to see them. I want to see how they react. I want to see, are they going to throw a fit? Are they going to throw a fit on an international stage on TV? Like, we don't want to have that. And so it's not like if they do that, it's a no. For a long time, and this is what's good about these coaches that I've been around, the Butch Chaffins, the RJ Farrells, got Tanner Vesely, all these guys that have kind of showed me the way. Is I've been around guys that would kind of not pay attention, because up in those towers we could see everything, right? We could see things they don't think we could see. And you've heard me say it, like we watch you from the moment you get off that plane. And so, in the team meeting, there's a kid not paying attention, really good player, and he's not paying attention. He takes his jersey off and he's just staring off in the distance. And so, this is a long time ago. Somebody goes, well, he's out, right? Like, scratch him off. He's not a team guy. And so you sit there, and I remember I gone like, well, what if he's never been taught, right? What if he doesn't know? What if he's never been taught the right way? We don't know where these kids come from, or who's coaching them, and so I started thinking, like, well, let's go have conversations. Let's go have a conversation with the player. Let's go let him know, hey, I saw you strike out with bases loaded. I know you're not stoked. I can't have you throw in your batting gloves. Like, let's work on doing that stuff. And I think those conversations help kids. Because you guys know this. Has anybody told some of those kids, hey, don't do that? You don't know. Like, so, you guys run a pretty good program. Not all programs are that way. Some kids get away with murder, stuff that you can't do on an international stage. So
yeah, I'm gonna just touch on that a little bit. And when we take a team that we know we're going to take out to Cary, North Carolina, even if they do have a shot, or they don't have a shot. I mean, we don't like preaching like none of you guys have a shot. We like to go and say, hey, you guys perform and act the right way and carry yourself like the way you're supposed to. Along with you parents, we try to coach the parents as well. Like, hey, parents, you guys shouldn't be doing this. Don't carry your kid's bag. You can cheer your kid on, but make sure they get their water and Gatorade before the game. There's Gatorade for us in the dugout. All that little stuff, details that you guys probably take a look at and could potentially, maybe carrying a kid's bag and wheeling it down to the car. You guys are like, wait a minute. If the mom is wheeling the kid's bag, back to the car, I can't take this kid to Taiwan.
Yeah.
I mean, let alone stay for another week with his teammate. We try to preach all that, and some parents take it and they run with it. Some parents probably look at us like, yeah, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they get there.
Yeah, and so literally, like, and for whoever's listening, I can tell you, it's the first thing I learned at USA Baseball. Please make your kids carry their bag. You don't know how fast that gets you run out of town. Like, I'm telling you, it's fair, unfair. Like, to look at the skill levels on these kids, we have to have the determining factors. They're down to micro levels, So, but mom was carrying this bag all week. It's like, all right, well, mom's not gonna be in Taiwan, so we'll take the other kid. Or if she is in Taiwan, she ain't carrying the bag.
Right, exactly.
But it's one of those where it's like, that sounds small, but in reality, when you're in high school, you're carrying your own bag. You're walking out the clubhouse in your own bag. When you go pro baseball, everybody's cheering you on. You're carrying your own bag. You don't see a trainer carrying your bag. You don't see a coach doing it. You're doing it yourself. So I think it sounds petty. It might sound small, but in reality, when you get older, that's how it's going to be. So why not teach them now? And I think everyone always goes, well, they're kids. I get it, but there's a time and a place for being a kid. And when you want to be at a big stage where the gold medal is on your back to go win this game, you're not just a regular kid. You're a dime in a dozen. I need you to act like you said, be uncommon. And
right. Well, it's just, normal kids don't worry about carrying their bag. We need uncommon kids that would want to carry their bag, but also see if they need any of the team equipment carried. Like, it's all, it's little, but just like in life, all those little things add up. All those little things add up to the big things. Like, I'll take the kid that's especially, and you guys have seen it, those last few, you got to have a bunch of glue guys. You can't have a bunch of me guys. Like, you can have one or two, but you got to have a lot more glue than selfish, right? Like, and when we're taking players 16, 17, 18, those character traits come in very, they're huge, right? Like that kid, that 18th player may not play very much.
Right.
They're going to get on a plane and go ride 16 hours and go to a hot, sweaty, muggy foreign country and sit and catch bullpens and not play very much. And you got to be okay with it, you know?
Yeah.
So to be a world champion,
What's that?
world champ.
Sorry, you cut out. World champ?
He's probably saying what does it take to be a world champ? Since you are a world champ, man. A gold medal.
Sacrifice, focus, unselfishness, skill. Let's not lie and take the skill part out of it. Everybody wants to talk about the process, but the process gets us closer to victory, right? Like, well, let's not forget why we're doing the process.
Right.
And getting the right 18 kids together, coaches together that are literally as happy for someone else's success as they are for their own, right? And last night we played a game here in Jacksonville, and it was probably the most we've started out, we're 7-1, we're decent, probably the most unselfish game that I've seen in a long time. And it was just that game where everybody's ready, everybody's good, right? Gloves are being picked up, pregame was good, BP was good. As soon as we walked in the club, everybody's ready to go. And it's like, man, if we could bottle this, right? If you could bottle this, especially with high school boys, if you could bottle this, like, you know, I love them to death, but I don't know if there's anything dumber than a teenage male. You know, like, you know, I was one. I get it.
Hey, they'll surprise you at times. You'd be like, hey, man, okay, right. There you go. Look at you.
Yeah. And then the next day, it's like, oh, you're back. All right.
There you go.
For sure. That's a good line right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I mean, it definitely, so you're choosing 18 kids with your staff and team, your task force. So what, I mean, is there pressure there? There's got to be pressure.
Yeah. I mean, so I didn't, it's funny. Every level you kind of step up, there's this next little pressure, right? Like when I was, when the open and I was coaching a team and kind of giving my opinion, and we'd have our notes, but then you had the staff and the trials coaches or training staff coaches, that would go that next level. I always thought, like, I'm gonna do my best so RJ win a gold medal, right? Or David Sharp or Todd Fine. And then you get moved up to like trials coach or training staff coach, and the pressure steps up a little more. It's like, now I've got a big hand in getting the right information to these guys, so those 4 staff guys can, along with us, but make the right decision. Because at the end of the day, it's the 4 staff guys as a training staff coach. You're kind of just there to, what do they need to see? What can we show you? What are we seeing behind the scenes, right? What are we seeing in the dugout? And some of that stuff is the character piece. Like we've had guys on that last day and a training staff coach will go, I'll tell you what, if these 2 guys are equal, this is the best teammate here, right? This is the best teammate in this whole place. And that goes a long way. So you got to have people that you trust, people that you know their word, right? And on the flip side, not people that want to sit and dominate the meeting either. Like you can't be in there to try and promote yourself. It's like, get your information out. If you're asked questions, answer your questions. If you have opinions, have your opinions. And then you move to staff. And I told my wife, like, oh, it's a whole different ballgame on staff, right? Now my butt's on the line, standing over there, right?
Right.
And there was a pressure. And then, you know, I was talking to Wes about this in Panama. We were roommates, and he asked me, he goes, what's the difference between being the manager or the head coach and being an assistant? And I go, dude, there's a whole new world over here. Like, my head hasn't stopped.
Right.
I got a thing on my Apple Watch when we got back to Houston. We flew back to Houston. My Apple Watch told me, your heartbeat has been elevated for the past 10 days. Like, oh no. So yeah, it's different. Like you kind of, and it's not a I'm going to embarrass myself or people are going to look at me bad. Like you don't want to let down the USA. Like for lack of a better term, like USA baseball is in the gold medal business, right?
Yeah.
We're not there to try hard, and we're there to bring home hardware, and to not do that is not a feeling I want to have. So I'm gonna,
I asked that question. I mean, there's definitely got to be pressure, I mean, but as baseball guys and what you
yeah,
gone through, you just got to learn how to handle that. I mean, I feel like, for example, my 13-year-olds, you know, I feel like we're ready. We're
right,
ready to take on whoever is up in front of us, Wildcatters or whoever.
yeah,
And I feel like our staff and myself, including the guys back home,
yeah,
we've done a pretty good job of preparing you guys, and I can't
yeah.
come
That's all
here.
you can do.
Yeah, I can't come here and be like, oh, we're not ready.
No,
These 20, 30 hacks is not going to define if you're going to hit the ball this week or not. Let's be
right,
honest.
Yeah.
You
no,
know what I mean?
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
It's
just
what you've done in the months before, right? It's what you've done in your downtime, and and I don't. It's hard to explain because it's a pressure, but everybody has pressure. The kids have pressure, and you just kind of almost lean into it. Like I'm perfectly fine with you being nervous. Like if you're nervous, that means you care. I'm scared about the kid that's not nervous, right? Like I'm the kid that's just cruising along. Like, oh, you may not feel the gravity of this situation, and each game gets a little more and more, Wes, our whole staff, we did a really good job, Wes and Roger and Jelly last year of having people in line for if it did get too big for one person, say the gold medal game, right? We had an idea and it went pretty good for a second and a couple of things went wrong and we had to move on and we were ready and we were planned and we knew with the Dominican, like if we could just throw a zero up and start putting pressure on them, we can break them. We can do that. So and there's a pressure now. It's a bad feeling to be in the third inning down 4 runs and a rain delay.
Yeah. And but I want to catch on to that, man. How? Because those, especially in Latin America, those kids are like good. I want to say like from when you went to the experience, is the world catching up with baseball? Especially at that young level, and you can be
Yeah.
like, man, there's some really good players out there, and they're starting to get better as just talent, but not just talent wise, but baseball wise. Like, are they? Because usually you could always have that separation, right? The knowledge of USA kids from the United States, and then the knowledge of kids from
Right.
the world. But I feel like it's catching up a little bit. Do you feel that way when you got there and you guys playing? You're like, man, this is like it's starting to become more of a grind to get these goals, which is good because it makes you guys better, and makes the kids better.
100%. Yeah.
But is there like that gap is closing now where it's like every out when you go out there, it's not a guarantee. You got to actually like go out there and fight for it.
Yeah, it's a fight. I mean, even the games that look, especially now with the USA bats, well, you guys saw some of the team like Jordan was on or last or the teams before. Those scores were 25-2, 25-10. But the USA bats, those aren't happening, right? So a couple of the games we won 9-2. Those are blowouts, right?
right.
So you have to play better baseball. You have to play better brand of baseball. Yes, so the world's catching up. And now here's my my statement, I guess. Nobody's coached better than we are.
I
Right.
agree with that, and I think that's
I
the
mean,
biggest separation.
no
With that,
disrespect to
yeah,
anybody, and I'm not trying to be like locker room material. And I'm not even talking about myself. I'm talking about from every. There's no better preparation. But the three guys I had, Roger Wright, Josh Ellis, and Wes Brooks. There's no three assistant coaches that were more prepared than those guys. I promise you that. And the actually playing baseball, yes, there's some countries that can sit and bang with us, 100%. There's very few that can go play baseball the right way. I'm not saying there's none, but why we won in Panama is because we could play base. We bunted more than anybody. Like we bunted. We watched their defenses. We scouted. We knew they didn't know how to defend bunts on first and second. Um, Yeah, so it's being able to play a 360-degree brand of baseball that's pitching, going back to being able to pitch and play defense, throw strikes, play defense, and go from there. So I don't mean like I don't mean disrespect from top to bottom, USA Baseball, from the people that aren't coaches, from Paul Seiler, Ashley Bratcher, Cole Beaker, all those guys that give us what we need to do what we do, to every coach, to the futures coaches, to you. There's nobody's coach better than we are. I believe that.
I agree. I agree. I
Right.
agree. So let's rewind a little bit. The national anthem.
Mhm.
Every time we play at the high school level before a high school game, I still get the chills
Yep.
every single time I'm on a baseball field or anywhere. I mean, I got the chills when it comes on the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's like when you listen to it, I mean, I know what it means to all of us, but
Yeah.
obviously, wearing USA across your chest and obviously being a Marine.
Well, I can tell you this. Every time I hear it, I get tears in my eyes. Like, and I'm not ashamed of that. I think a lot of things go through my head. People that have sacrificed for the country, right? Um, the opportunity we have to to represent our country. Um, the just the just being able to be there, your family, everything that's important, kind of all goes through at that point.
Yeah.
So to stand there, I mean, high school, I'm like you, yeah, it doesn't matter. High school games, I just stare at that top left star, and it's almost like an appreciation, a prayer, everything all at once. So, yeah, I'm with you, and I think, God,
That's right.
I hope that never goes away, right?
Right, absolutely. And hopefully, I mean, I know what it means to obviously, my 16-year-old been at the high school level
Yeah.
and our kids that went through trials and, they absolutely. I mean, it's huge. It's huge for all of us. And
I think, and we spend time doing that. Like we try and have people come in and talk during training camp. We teach them how we want them to do the national anthem. And I think maybe they leave with a little more, not that they're respect or appreciation for what they have. So
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, it's a sense of pride, man, and
yep,
give you the opportunity to go out there and represent. And I mean, now I think it's just the experience, man. Like when you hear the national anthem, you be like, "Yo, I made it." Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when you go to the MLB, they do the
yeah,
national anthem through the roof, and then it goes, "Hey, play ball
yeah,
now." I think that's
yeah,
where like everybody's first opening day. I think it gets you to the point where it's like the first USA game. You'd be like,
right,
well, and even yourself, you're like, we're here. All right,
yeah.
let's go.
Oh,
And I
it's
think,
real.
yeah, once you
Right.
hear that and you get those chills, those feelings, you get pumped up because now it's not a state that you're playing at. It's not a college that
Right.
you're playing at. You're representing a whole country. And
Yeah.
I think that's the best part about it is when you have pride and you hear that national anthem, man, it's fire you up to go and just go play.
Yeah.
And then,
And then when you hear that national anthem the first time in your first game in a different country, you'll know if you picked the right 18 kids or not. You'll
oh
see it.
wow,
You'll see it, right? You'll see it walking back. You'll see it.
yeah.
So, and if you
so
didn't, you'll know. You also know if you didn't.
You be like, oh man. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, has there ever been a moment when you're out there, you're like, damn, I knew I should have. Like, not meaning a bad thing, but you're like, dude, man, we should went with these other two guys instead of these two. Has there ever been a moment like
Uh,
that where it's like, I know everybody does well, and you guys go through your thing, but
yeah.
we all have our
Let's
moments where we're like, oh, gosh,
hey, catch me and Carrie this summer. We'll talk.
got you.
Let's leave it on this
Yeah,
public podcast. Let's say
yeah.
I don't recall.
All right, there.
Right.
We all had those
Oh
moments.
man. Oh,
Yeah,
high
but you
school
also
baseball.
had them where you go, oh, I wasn't sure about this kid, but he's come a long way, right? There's
Yeah,
the flip side.
that surprises
There's the
you.
flip
Yeah,
side.
and you're
Yep,
like, man,
yep, yep.
I know that's, and I think that's the best part about it is because you don't know. You think you picked the 18, And then you go one where it's like, you know what, man, I'm gonna take a chance on you. Let's go. And he just goes and blows you out the water and does amazing. You're like, man, that's what we need there. Yeah. So you're right. There's always that.
And
two
it's
sides.
kind of a it's this system that's been kind of whittled down, and you have guys like a Butch Chaffin or a Seth Kinney or those guys that have done it that say, hey, run away from this type of player, right? Don't, right? If it's bad here, it's going to be doubly bad there. Like, and so there are certain things that I have in and go, I've seen this before. Let's just not, right? Let's don't fair, unfair. I got to go with my gut on this one, you know?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So you're coaching high school baseball out in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You're the head coach or you're assistant? What do you up to?
I'm the assistant to Nick James. He's the man that got me in my cousin that got me into USA baseball. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Back in our old stomping grounds. Okay.
Yeah. So we're it's great. It's great out here. It's a really good brand of baseball. And God, everybody's got a massive arm. You know what I mean? Every team's got this guy that's just a dragon. And then so we were looking to kind of maybe my wife has family in Florida. So we were kind of looking to get out of Cali. Maybe thinking doing it before the kids were older. And then I'd had a couple offers. We talked to a couple people. Then Nick reached out like, hey, man, if you're thinking, he just took over at Episcopal last year. So then, we're doing it. We're doing good. It's a good group of kids, good group of coaches. And he's doing a good job. So it's fun to be an assistant again and just not stress about admin things.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. That's great. That's great. Jacksonville, Florida high school.
Yeah, it's cool.
You guys are 7-1. You said?
Yeah, we're 7-1. We played. We had a loss to Jesuit, who's top 10 in the nation, Georgia. It's funny though. Even that game, it's like we still made some dumb mistakes. Nothing against them. They're obviously really good, and I'm not saying that we could, take them on a weak play. We got a shot. We play our best, but we just. I don't think we were ready. Kind of like the big stars in the big moment, getting your eyes a little bit. But we've been. I mean, we're really keeping the runs down. We're pitching, playing defense. We won 11-1 last night. I don't think, besides Jesuit, we haven't given up more than 3 runs in a game. We only did that once, I think. So,
wow.
Nick does a fantastic job with pitchers. So,
like that, man. High school baseball, man. I know that's a refresher. That's probably be a breathtaking thing where you're like, I can go relax.
You know what's funny is you go overseas into these super intense worldwide competitions, and you come back and then you get started okay, we got to recrank the high school. It's a new age. It's a new type of kid. It's new problems, so but yeah, it's refreshing. And I'll be honest, I like being an assistant. I like being able to kind of not keep my thumb on them all the time and kind of build skills and build those relationships and be an outlet for those guys and kind of be an outlet for Nick, be a conduit. And then, with USA, I kind of have to put on a different hat, maybe be a little more serious and keep my thumb on them. And there's kind of 2 schools of thought, which are, you don't want to put too much pressure on them because they're 12. And on the other hand, I kind of lean towards let's put a ton of pressure on them because I need special 12-year-olds, right? Like, let's push them. Let's not get to Taiwan and realize they can't handle pressure. Let's put a bunch of pressure on them and hold them to higher standards here. So,
absolutely.
Who would you say is our biggest rival? What country is our biggest rival?
Gus, we are everybody's gold medal game. I cannot narrow it down. There's some really good programs. There's some good. All the big Dominicans are good. Japan's good. Chinese Taipei is good. They're all good. Cuba. You catch a team at the right, and teams are different from year to year. Some are different. Some are. But I know this every time we step on the field, that other team, if they could lose every other game, if they beat us, their trip was worth it. So
Wow.
it's our job not to let them have a good trip.
Right, right.
So,
All right. Go ahead, Lyra.
Yeah, man. So we're getting to the end of the podcast, man, and you
cool.
know we like to do this segment here where we ask rapid questions, man, and you know just read you down
Quick today because I'm a
questions
little
and then
lagged. I'm on Wi-Fi. Lyra's on my Wi-Fi over there. So
to
hit
get
him
you
with it,
going. All
Lyra.
right.
Hit him with it.
So the first one is pitch clock or no pitch clock.
Pitch clock.
Pitch clock. Do you guys? Sorry, this is off the. Do you guys have that on the 12U? No, right?
No.
No.
Well, okay. They say they're going to. They never do.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming. Yeah.
Favorite.
I just think it's better for defense.
Got it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
favorite player of all time.
Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly. Wow, that's a good one. Damn, that's a good one. Favorite MLB player growing up.
I'd say Mattingly as I got older. Jeter.
Jeter. Okay. DH or no DH? Oh, that's a good one right now too.
A great one. He's stuck with it.
To watch, DH. To coach, no DH. Is that hedging? Sorry. No, come on. I hate when people do that. DH.
Alrighty. Pitch com or straight or goes coach the signs to try to pick them.
Other team coaches signs us pitch com. Pitch com. So Nick does pitch com or does the communication system. It's so good. It's so it's
Yeah, ask
I
Gus
mean,
about
it's
that.
like-
Gus loves it. Gus loves it.
I mean, I call pitches at the high school level. And I'm just like, call time, go talk
Yeah.
to mom. This
100%.
guy's working up in the bullpen,
Yep.
and it's just
Yep.
it's next level. It's really
Yep.
it really
Yep.
is.
It
It's
used to
really
be against it. Now I'm totally into it.
Same.
Hot dog when you're going to the game. Would it be hot dog or nachos?
Hot dog.
Hot
And
dog?
then when I go to the bathroom, I get nachos. These are good questions. These are tough. Hot dog.
Yeah. Favorite kind of seeds.
Sunflower seeds?
Yeah.
Dude, those what were those new ones? They had what are the ones? They're the new, like they have all the flavors. I forgot what they're called.
The smacking.
Anyway, they had a cinnamon churro one.
Yeah, smacking.
That was yes,
Yes,
cinnamon churro. Those were good. But off the normal ones, I think I like I like the dill pickle ones. Those are good.
Oh, the spits. Yeah, I like the.
Yeah,
Those are really
Spits
good.
are good.
too.
Yeah.
Man, this was great. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you,
man.
Coach. Appreciate you. And
Yeah.
again, thanks for joining. I got to get Q on this. And
Yeah.
again, best of luck to you with
Thank
USA
you.
Baseball, and thank you for everything you've done. Past, present, and good luck with your high school season.
Yeah.
Now that I know where you're at, I'll definitely be on Max Preps. Checking
Yeah.
you guys out. So
Yeah, come out. If you're ever out here, hit me up. I'll see you guys this summer, right?
for sure. So
Yeah, man.
Hey, and just before we go, I too, and I know a lot of people that do respect how you guys do things out there, and it's always good to watch you guys play and watch your player, talk to you guys about them, and get all you guys do out there. Did the fires mess with you guys?
Yeah, it was pretty close to us, and some of our kids did get affected
Yeah.
by that as well. So
Right.
we took like a couple of days off, or when we
Yeah.
couldn't practice and all that. We're checking in with family. So yeah, it definitely hit very close to home here.
Yeah.
But
Sorry
yeah.
to hear that. I hope everything's all right.
Oh yeah. Well, I think one thing is we go, we make it through, and it's just one of
Yep.
those where it's like unfortunate, but we got to keep pushing and keep going, man. But hey, thank you again, man. We really
No problem.
appreciate it, man. This podcast went amazing as expected.
problem.
And speak
Sure.
to someone as good as you, and and as smart as you, and it's very refreshing to do that. And we thank you again for you guys watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go check out Team USA baseball when they go make it 12U. They're gonna go back and win it again because that's what we expect and nothing less. But hey,
No pressure.
No pressure, but hey, that's what we live for, and that's what the Team USA represents, man. So once again, thank you, you guys out there, man, for supporting, and don't forget, get us to 200 subscribers, man. We really appreciate it. Let's get after it, man. Thank you, and we
All
out.
right.